So we've been covering the fallout, the downfall, whatever from Cox v. Sony. Oh yeah, a lot of cases are going down there, dropping like fly balls. And a lot of them are just dismissing it on their own, but there are some who really don't want to let go of them. What they really want to do is turn around and retcon their complaint to say, no, we really meant this totally different other thing when we said that. And that's the sort of thing that's not going to work. And here we are in re OpenAI, which is a bunch of different cases glommed together, but you probably remember one that we've covered. I've talked about the news plaintiffs, and that's what this is: the New York Times, the Daily News, the Center for Investigative Reporting, and others. Always have that et al. In there. They're known collectively as the news plaintiffs. But much of their complaint went down because of Cox. And now they're wanting a do-over. They're wanting to amend the complaint, and the judge isn't having it. So let's take a look at this. The judge writes, the New York Times and Daily News' cross motions for leave to amend their complaints to assert different theories of contributory copyright infringement liability against defendant Microsoft are denied because the New York Times and Daily News have not demonstrated good cause justifying the requested amendments at this late stage of the litigations. Yep, it was a losing prospect. The news plaintiffs each asserted contributory copyright infringement claims against OpenAI and Microsoft on the theory that OpenAI and Microsoft knew of and materially contributed to direct copyright infringement by end users of their products. Exactly what the Supreme Court said you cannot do in Cox. They also asserted separate contributory copyright infringement claims against Microsoft on the theory that Microsoft knew of and materially contributed to direct infringement by OpenAI. But in its recent decision in Cox, the Supreme Court held that material contribution is not a valid theory of contributory liability for copyright infringement. Based on Cox, OpenAI moved pursuant to Rule 12c for judgment on the pleadings, dismissing the news plaintiffs' contributory copyright infringement claims against OpenAI because they were premised on the impermissible material contribution theory of contributory copyright infringement. You don't get to do that anymore. But the news plaintiffs also moved for leave to amend their contributory copyright infringement claims against Microsoft on the grounds that the Supreme Court's decision in Cox constitutes good cause justifying amendment. We get to try to save those counts, Your Honor. They seek to amend their claims against Microsoft to allege that Microsoft intentionally induced OpenAI's infringement and provided OpenAI with services tailored to infringement. And that was what Cox said was valid. Just knowing about it isn't good enough. Just contributing to it isn't good enough. You have to intentionally induce it and provide a service tailored to infringement. But, says the judge, the inducement and services tailored to infringement theories of contributory copyright infringement liability, which the news plaintiffs now seek to assert against Microsoft, existed prior to the Supreme Court's decision in Cox, which explicitly reaffirmed the continued validity of these theories despite Cox's invalidation of the material contribution theory. So those are completely separate things. They don't have anything to do with each other. The Supreme Court knocked down the one, but you still have the other. The problem is, they didn't assert the other. The motions by the news plaintiffs for leave to amend their complaints to assert inducement and services tailored to infringement theories of contributory copyright infringement liability against Microsoft are denied. The Supreme Court's decision in Cox does not constitute good cause for the news plaintiffs' requested amendment at this late date. Cox did not alter the viability of inducement and services tailored to infringement theories of contributory copyright infringement liability. They didn't touch those at all. They were always there. It merely declared the invalidity of the theory of liability that the news plaintiffs elected to pursue against Microsoft throughout this litigation. The news plaintiffs were free before Cox to assert contributory copyright infringement claims against Microsoft based on inducement or provision of services tailored to infringement, but they chose not to do so. If they had thought that was what they had done, they should have alleged that from the beginning. And it's not like there was anything big that came up in discovery that was like, oh, look at this, we need to add this on. No, this is just based on Cox. But Cox doesn't give you anything new. That's the problem. Permitting the news plaintiffs to switch their theories now would require reopening discovery into Microsoft's intent and whether the services Microsoft provided to OpenAI were tailored to infringement. Accordingly, the court finds that the news plaintiffs have not demonstrated good cause justifying their requests for leave to amend their complaints to add new theories of contributory copyright infringement. The court dismisses with prejudice, you can't refile, the news plaintiffs' material contribution copyright infringement claims against OpenAI and Microsoft premised on alleged direct infringement by end users. The court also dismisses, with prejudice, the trademark dilution claims by the New York Times and the Daily News. Those are gone too. You remember we talked about those? They claimed that, oh, they're messing with our trademark. Yeah, that was dumb from the start. So it's gone now too. Their motions requesting leave to amend their complaints to add new theories of contributory copyright liability are denied. They can't do it. The news plaintiffs are directed to file amended complaints in conformity with this order within 15 days. So ordered, so there, so saith Sid Stein. Yep. They're going down fast. We'll have to see when they amend their complaint what's actually left. There's only like a count or two left, I think. And it looks like we might be about to see the same thing over in Disney versus Midjourney too. Because Disney isn't wanting to let go of this either, and Midjourney just moved like, they can't do that, Your Honor. You need to take that out. They're desperate. They're clinging on to everything they can, and they keep losing, and losing. Is there one thing they've won? I'm not sure. I don't think there's any actual judgment that's gone their way so far. But of course, we'll just have to see, and I'll be here to cover it for you. So thank you so very much for watching. Comments for the comment god, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. And of course, donate.bogosity.tv keeps me doing this. All of those ways, any tiny amount. You know, as far as YouTube is concerned, I'm happy to get charging money. If I get more, that's good too. And the more I get, the more of this I can do. If you're like, Shane, why don't you make more videos? Well, there's your answer. Otherwise, I have to start getting real work in. How much of this I do depends entirely on you. So thanks again, and until next time, stay strong and be free.